Chapter 3, motives. Tell me what's your motive.
Chapter 3, motives. Chapter 3.
Motives. They're on the plane coming back from Florida. The sun was so deeply buried behind the clouds that there was no way to tell if it had set or not. So they're basically on a flight. They're balls deep into this flight.
Basically, Renee, tipped off by Charlie, was like, hey, seems like maybe you guys are a little too serious and like,
Hey,
don't
what's
get
going on?
married, okay? And Bella's like, hey, and then they leave. Oh yeah, and Edward stays inside the whole time.
Yeah, he has an essay.
I'm allergic to the sun.
I have to be a shirt.
What?
I'm allergic to the sun.
You're allergic to the sun.
Very, very, very deathly allergic.
They get back to Flax.
Charlie jumps up and says, welcome home, kid!
How's Jacksonville?
Moist and buggy. Charlie goes, I really missed you, Bells. The food around here sucks when you're gone.
I really missed having my maid around.
I like
my
ugh.
personal chef.
I'll get on it, I said as he let me go.
No!
Would you call Jacob first? Charlie,
He has two things on his agenda. Cook my food
and
call
talk to
the
Jacob.
push.
Wait, Jacob wants to talk to me?
Pretty bad, I'd say. He wouldn't tell me what it's about. Just that
that
it's
it was
important.
important.
That's him again. I'd bet my paycheck. And boy, is it meager, because they couldn't pay me enough to fight crime.
She grabs the phone mid-ring and twists it around so that I was facing the wall. Hello?
You're back.
Jacob said,
Jacob!
His familiar husky voice, his familiar golden retriever voice, his familiar corgi voice.
We're back. We're back. Ready?
Rella. As soon as she hears him, 1,000 memories spun in my head, tangling together. A rocky beach strewn with driftwood trees, a garage made of plastic sheds. All this is lame, but what's important is the feverish heat of his big hand around mine, the flash of his white teeth against his dark skin, his face stretching into the wide smile that had always been like a key to a secret door where only kindred spirits could enter. Sounds a lot like
I cleared the lump from my throat.
yes!
I need to talk to you. Yeah,
I figured that part out all by myself. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go to school tomorrow?
She's like, of course I am. Why wouldn't I? He's like, I don't know. Just curious.
So what do you want to talk about?
Nothing.
I guess I just wanted to hear your voice.
I wanted to tell him that I was on my way to La Push right now. And I couldn't tell him that. The Push.
I was on my way to the push right now.
Yeah, I wanted to tell him that I was on my way to La Push. And then Jake is like, I have to go.
What?
I'll talk to you soon, okay?
But you called me.
And he was already gone. He hung up. I listened to the dial tone with disbelief. She's like,
That was short. Unlike Jacob, who's 6'7". Is
Okay.
everything all right?
his voice was low and careful.
As if he didn't hear the entire conversation with his
Yeah.
vampire ears.
I turned slowly to face him. It didn't make sense that Jacob had been hounding Charlie all day just to ask me if I was going to school.
Your guess is as good as mine.
That was true. I knew Jake inside and out. Shouldn't be that complicated to figure out his
Motivation!
I love that.
Dropped early, honestly.
Yeah,
I
really.
gotta be honest.
With my thoughts miles away. About
15 miles.
Because you know I would walk 15 miles if I could just see you tonight. The push. The push. The push and I put it up in a husky.
And then she's like, better make Charlie's dinner.
Yeah, because
that's all
she just got off
do.
at 9 hours. So if I hadn't been going to school tomorrow, what would be the problem with that from Jacob's perspective? What could have changed in the past 3 days that was so important that Jacob would break his long streak of refusing to answer my phone calls and contact me? What difference could 3 days make?
She freezes in the middle of the kitchen. The package of icy hamburger in my hand slid through my numb fingers. It took me a slow second to miss the thud it should have made against the floor.
Edward catches it and throws it onto the counter.
What's wrong, my love?
I shook my head, dazed. What's wrong? 3 days could change everything.
Hadn't I just been thinking about how impossible college was? how I couldn't be anywhere near people after I'd gone through the painful 3-day conversion that would set me free from mortality so that I could spend eternity with Edward.
Bella's like, wait a minute. Jacob called because he thinks
I went away
to become a vampire.
The old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? Oh, because she's dead.
And then went back home to Charlie's house. Like, that would be her first stop.
Literally, does he know anything? Edward shook me. Bella! I think he was checking to make sure that I'm human. I mean, he stiffens. A low hiss sounded in my ear. We'll have to leave before so that it doesn't break the treaty. We will never be able to come back. His arms tightened around me. I know.
Charlie cleared his voice loudly from the
We're like, we'll have to leave. We're gonna run to Vegas.
I know. Hey, Dad.
I jumped and then pulled free of Edward's arms, my face getting hot. Edward leaned back against the counter. His eyes were tight. Then Charlie goes, if you don't want to make dinner, I can call for a pizza.
But you'd better want to fucking make dinner.
Like,
they're both just leaning against things and staring at her while she cooks. He props himself against the door frame, folding his arms. I side to work and try to ignore my audience.
Yeah.
Edward's leaning against the counter.
Charlie's
leaning against the door frame. And they're both like, While Jacob's calling her on the phone, trying to control her. All these men trying to fucking control her. I'm suffocating.
I'm suffocating.
Once she becomes a vampire and at least is literally physically strong enough to fight everyone out of her life, then she can finally control her fucking life.
This is actually literally the horror of the plight of being a woman, though. The men around you will control you, expect you to clean up and cook for them, and then also like act like you're being hysterical.
But then be like, oh, if you like didn't want to make dinner, like I can
that's
order
fine.
pizza. If
Like,
you like don't want to talk, you can
like
close
it's
the
a passive,
window.
but like all of them are also trying to control her behavior, and all could physically overpower her at any moment.
Charlie
Even
has a gun.
Charlie has a gun. So now it's the next day. They just got to school.
If I asked you to do something, would you trust me? I ate Aladdin.
Do you trust me?
What?
Do you trust me?
Yes.
Edward had been relaxed and joking just a moment ago, but now suddenly his hands were clenched tight on the steering wheel, his knuckles straining in an effort not to snap it into pieces. Ah! His eyes were far away, like he was listening to distant voices. That's literally exactly what he's doing.
I want you to stay in the car. No!
I want you to wait here until I come back for you.
But why?
That was when I saw him. It would have been hard to miss, towering over the students the way he did, even if he hadn't been leaning against his black motorcycle, parked illegally on the sidewalk.
Oh! It's Jacob! Oh my god.
Like, what's going on?
He looks great.
No, he looks
really
great
good.
with his motorcycle.
Wait.
That's illegally parked because he's dangerous.
He looks really good.
No, he looks really good, but like, what is he doing here? All 6'7" of Jacob's long body, muscled up the way no normal 16-and-a-half-year-old had ever been. Like 6'7"? Muscled the fuck up?
16 and a half.
Yeah, what? Like, the fact that they're qualifying and a half is like kind of sus. What's the age of consent in Washington State?
Hey, we're not going there.
Yeah, we are.
I'm pretty sure it's 18. We're very progressive.
16.
No!
I have horrible news. The age of consent is 16. He outpaces that by half a
He
year.
didn't even have to have the half. Anyway, you know how people joke about like what people look like in real high school and what people look like in movie high school?
Yeah.
It's like this movie high school guy just pulls up in front, parked on a motorcycle, and you're like, who the f*** is this guy? It's 2 weeks before the end of school.
Yeah, rolls up clearly to just like be an antagonist
And
for some reason.
guess who it is? Another guy who wants to date Bella. Jessica Stanley's just like, oh my god, she's not even that cute.
I have bigger boobies.
You jumped
To the wrong conclusion last night. He asked about school because he knew that I would be where you were. He was looking for a safe place to talk to me, a place with witnesses.
Oh,
Yo,
wait, I was fully on Bella's side.
I was
she's
like,
right.
no, she's totally right. Huh?
Okay.
She goes, I'm not staying in the car. Edward groaned quietly.
Of course not. Well, let's get this over with. Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger?
as a jewel for you.
Anyway, just
What?
as long you're here. That's
Everyone's looking, it's super drama. He's like, yeah, I gotta talk to y'all. And then Edward's like, you could have called us. And Jacob goes, sorry, I don't have any leeches on my speed dial.
Whoa! Shots fired!
Shots fired. Edward's reaction is, you could have reached me at Bella's house, of course. This is hardly the place, Jacob. Could we discuss this later?
Sure. I'll stop by your crypt after school.
Edward basically just reads Jacob's mind and goes, I already know what you came to say, message delivered, consider us warned.
Wait, this is fantastic.
He's like, get the out of here.
Warned? What are
What are
you
you talking
talking about?
You didn't tell her?
What? Were you afraid she'd take our side?
Oh,
I frowned in confusion. What don't I know? Edward?
incredible frown. He didn't tell you that his big
Brother. His big brother. No, his brother. I know where you're going. No. Cross the line Saturday night. It was no man's land. Was not.
Jacob was fuming visibly. His hands trembled. He shook his head and sucked in 2 deep lungfuls of air. What happened? Were they fighting? My voice strained higher in panic. Why?
No one fought. No one got hurt. Wait, then what's the drama?
Jacob was staring at us with incredulous eyes. You didn't tell her anything at all, did you? Is that why you took her away? So she wouldn't know what...
Leave now.
First,
and never return. Okay, Scar.
Run away and never return.
Edward cut him off mid-sentence, and his face was abruptly frightening. Truly frightening.
For a second, he looked like
a vampire. He glared at Jacob with vicious, unveiled loathing.
Unadulterated loathing for your face, your hair, your clothing. Let's just say, I love it all.
Every little thing your fucking pack does.
Everything your vampire
Treaty
pack
lines.
does. Simple utter loathing. It's such strange generation. It's such total transformation. It's so pure, so strong.
Every little thing that I do believe that it can last.
And I will be loathing you my whole life long. Together, you are just too good.
Everyone's watching. They're like, oh my god, what's going on? Nothing ever happens.
Nothing
in this
ever
town.
happens here. Mike had one hand on Ben's shoulder like he was holding him in place. Why is Ben gonna get in on the fight?
Oh, Ben.
It's so sweet.
In the dead silence, all the details suddenly fell into place for me with a burst of intuition.
Something Edward didn't want me to know.
Something that Jacob wouldn't have kept for me.
Something that had the Cullens and the wolves both in the woods, moving in hazardous proximity to each other.
Something that would cause Edward to insist that I fly across the country?
Something that Alice had seen in a vision last week. A vision that Edward had lied to me about.
Something I'd been waiting for anyway.
Something I knew would happen again, as much as I might wish it never would. It was never going to end, was it?
I heard the quip, gasp, gasp, gasp in the air, dragging through my lips, but I couldn't stop it.
Yeah, duh. Obviously. Victoria was never going to give up until I was dead. She would She would keep repeating the same pattern. Faint and run, until she found a hole in my defenders.
Me trying to get out of things, faint and run.
Faint and run.
I'm lightheaded.
Maybe I'd get lucky. Maybe the Volturi would come for me first. They'd kill me quicker, at least.
Yeah, right.
They would turn her
They
into a
li-
vampire. They wouldn't kill her.
They also live for torture.
Bella's having a panic attack, and then Edward glares at Jacob. Does that answer your question, mongrel? Like, this is why I didn't tell her. Because she's freaking out. Like,
Better frightened than lied to.
period. Yeah.
Bossing say. bossing say. I tried to pull myself together.
But my eyes were swimming in moisture. I could see it behind my lids. I could see Victoria's face, her lips pulled back over her teeth, her crimson eyes glowing with the obsession of her vendetta. She held Edward responsible for the demise of her love, James, and she wouldn't stop until his love was taken from him too.
Edward wiped the tears from my cheek with his fingertips and ate them all. I wasn't planning on having breakfast, but you're really making her nervous rather than protecting her.
She's tougher than you think. And she's been through worse. Abruptly, Jacob's expression shifted and he was staring at Edward with an odd, speculative expression. His eyes narrowed like he was trying to do a difficult math problem. So Jacob's just looking at Edward like...
Me trying to add 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Jacob is like picturing Bella depressed and being like, take that!
Yeah.
Look at what you did!
Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do.
Bella's like, what are you doing to him? It's nothing, Bella. Jacob just has a good memory, that's all. Jacob grinned and Edward winced again. Is Jacob Jane?
Stop it! What are you doing?
Sure, if you want. It's his own fault if he doesn't like the things I remember, though.
The fact that he can picture the picture and also like say sassy stuff, like, I'm impressed.
Yeah,
multitasking hero.
We do kind of stand Jacob in this moment because, like, yeah, he's like, yeah, your actions have consequences.
Yeah. Overall, Jacob is playing this incredibly well. Principal is about to be like,
The
get out
principal
of here.
shows up. He's like, you guys can't. Who are you? And also, you're really tall.
Yeah, you adult man, get out of
and
here.
you have a bike.
A little trouble makes life fun. Let me guess, you're not allowed to have fun, are you? Okay, don't push your luck here.
Don't push it.
Jacob.
Yeah, you're being a little bit of a. Edward glowered, and his lips pulled back from his teeth ever so slightly.
Shut up, Jake.
Jacob laughed. That sounds like a no.
Hey, if you ever feel like having a life again,
You should come see me. I've still got your motorcycle in my garage.
Ooh. The news has started. Wait,
You still have Wait, hold on, my bike.
Wait, you still have
it?
it? Everyone, I'm going to the push. I'll see you after
No,
school.
I'm going to
La push. Jake. Jake. You kept my bike.
He leaned forward, his face earnest now, the bitter sarcasm fading.
I think I might have been wrong before. You know, about not being able to be friends.
Maybe we could manage it on my side of the line.
Come see me. Feels manipulative, but we'll take it.
Also kind of like, come see me.
Yeah.
Like, you won't.
He's like,
You won't. Bet.
Wasn't expecting that big a response to the bike. Let's strike while the iron's hot.
I was vividly conscious of Edward, his arms still wrapped protectively around me.
No.
No. And she's like, Jake, I don't know about that, Jake. I miss you every day, Bella. It's not the same without you. I know, and I'm sorry, Jake. He shook his head and sighed. I know, doesn't matter, right? I guess I'll survive or something. Who needs friends? Yeah, like, you, like, don't have a literal pack of friends who are dogs, aka man's best friend.
Yeah, and the people that you were friends with before the pack joined the pack, so like you're even tighter now. You've got the closest friends anyone could ever have.
Your friends before and after are like the exact same, and now you're even bonded further together by like a greater purpose. But yeah, who needs friends? We can all read each other's minds, and we all change into the same fucking mutant wolf, and we're all the same and hated on the inside, and we've experienced this act of trauma together every time we phase. But who needs them?
Because friends is a lie, and he wants to bang.
Yeah, he doesn't actually want to be your friend, that's why. The principal is like, get out of class! Yeah.
Mr. Cullen, do we have a problem here?
Not at all, Mr. Green. We were just on our way to class.
Excellent. I don't seem to recognize your friend. Are you a new student here 2 weeks before the end of the year?
Jacob goes,
nope.
then I suggest you remove yourself from school property at once, young man, before I call the police. Like, Charlie's gonna do fucking anything. Whoop, whoop.
Hey. Hair disheveled. I woke up for this.
But then he sees Jacob and he's like,
hey,
Jake, what's up?
We'll see you at the barbecue then
again. Jacob's little smirk became a full-blown grin, and I knew he was picturing Charlie showing up to arrest him. Jacob said, yes, sir! Snapped into a military salute before he climbed on his bike and kicked it to a start right there on the sidewalk. The engine snarled. Then the tires squealed as he spun sharply around. In a matter of seconds, Jacob raced out of sight. Bye, Jacob.
Mr. Green gnashes his teeth together. Meanwhile, I'm like, this is the most action and
Are you not entertained, Mr. Green? Like, you're gonna act like you came back to high school voluntarily just to teach and not to watch petty high school drama? Mr. Green! You love it. You live for it. Then they leave. Bella's still having a panic attack. Edward's like, do you still feel well enough to go to class? And she's like, yes. She yanks a blank page out of her notebook and starts writing because she wants everyone to know they're passing notes. It's also first period, like they just got to school. So she shows up and she's just like,
what happened?
Tell me everything. I shoved the note at Edward. I pushed the note at Edward. It took him less time than me, though. He wrote an entire paragraph in his own personal calligraphy before he sent it.
He pulls out a quill. Alice saw that Victoria was coming back. I took you out of town merely as a precaution. There was never a chance that she would have gotten anywhere close to you. Emmett and Jasper very nearly had her, but Victoria seems to have some instinct for evasion.
Oh, that's the title of the second letter.
She escaped right down the Quileute boundary line as if she were reading it from a map.
It didn't help that Alice's abilities were nullified by the Quileute's involvement. Okay.
To be fair,
the Quileute's might have had her too, if we hadn't gotten in the way.
The big gray one thought Emmett was over the line, and he got defensive. Of course, Rosalie reacted to that, and everyone left the chase to protect their companions, because everyone's dating. Carlisle and Jasper got things calmed down before it got out of hand.
Carlisle's like, whoa.
And Jasper's like, but by then,
Victoria had slipped away. That's everything. I frowned at the letters on the page.
All of them had been in on it. Emmett, Jasper, Alice, Rosalie, and Carlisle.
Maybe even Esme!
Esme might have left the house for this. I don't know. They're all just like, we have an important mission. She's like, hey, I don't know. I feel like I'm just gonna stay here.
If I were Esme, I would simply kill myself.
Look, I wasn't gonna send you off alone.
With your luck, not even the black box would survive. So, let's say my bad luck did crash the plane.
What exactly were you gonna do about it? Why is the plane crash?
Why is that relevant?
You meant you brought up the black box.
Like, you're the one that brought it up. I'd wait until we were close enough to the ground, get a good grip on you, kick out the wall, and jump. Then I'd run you back to the scene of the accident, and we'd stumble around like the two luckiest survivors in history. But why would you go back to the scene of the accident when you're literally about to fake her death anyway?
Yeah, you could have just, like, been a missing body, and they'd never find you.
Also, if Bella was a vampire, she'd be fine.
Yeah, wait, this would be perfect.
This is gonna be fine in literally like 2 weeks. Like, they don't have to worry about
Destroy the black box. Make her a vampire!
The paper disappeared from under my hand. She's like, where did it go? Oh my god, it's Mr. Birdie. She comes down and he's
Bertie Crouch.
Bertimus! He's like, is there something you'd like to share there, Mr. Cullen? Edward looked up innocently and held out the sheet of paper on top of his folder.
My notes?
He said, asking confused. Mr. Birdie scans the notes, no doubt a perfect transcription of the lecture, and then walked away frowning. So then Bella's in calculus later, and she hears
people talking about what happened earlier.
It's the gossip.
My money's on the big indie.
No! Why? No. You know better. Like, you have to go out of your way at this point to say that. That is
no. Okay. Yeah, Mike whispered. Did you see the size of that Jacob kid?
So they know his name.
They hung out at La Push with him.
They literally did.
They know who he is.
Mike went to a movie with them in New Moon.
Maybe he's trying to, like, correct them by being like, yeah. Did you see the size of that Jacob kid? Because you know his name, and it's Jacob. So, hey, white night, Mike.
White night, Mike. Good for you. I don't think so, Ben disagreed. There's something about Edward. He's always so confident. I have a feeling he can take care of himself. Ben is just sticking up for him. Ben has been so loyal in this chapter. Human boys are betting on who's going to win the fight. 10 on Jacob. Austin said, who the f*** is Austin?
Austin Ames. You're nomad. 10 on Cullen, Tyler chimed in.
10 on Edward.
Jacob.
Hey, do you guys know what it was about? That might affect the odds.
I can guess. They all
turn and look at Bella! From their expressions, none of them realized I was in easy hearing distance, and they all looked away quickly.
Still say Jacob, Mike muttered.
And that's chapter 3. Motives.
Motive.
Tell me what's your motive. My motive is to get you out of town, and then show up to your school unannounced, and then write some notes in class, and then I'm gonna give you all of this ass. And she's at the center of all of this, and everyone is trying to, like, get her to fit into their version of the picture when, like, it's literally her picture.
But major takeaway, Victoria's back.
Victoria's back. Oh, yeah, Victoria's back.
She's back, and everyone's on red alert.
And in this movie, she's played by Bryce Dallas Howard instead of Rochelle Lefevre.
Have a great
y'all.
week.
Have a great
We'll
week.
see you next time. And, just, like, hi. Love you.
I love y'all.
Bye.
Mwah.